Hi, let's talk about some of the important aspects about educating our children in the 21st century. You have to become self directed learners to remain relevant in the new economy. Digitization is changing the way we live, work, and learn. Robots and algorithms are increasingly supplanting humans in jobs. This massive shift is eating up many professions involving repetitive tasks that machines can perform a lot more efficiently. So, our new generations grow up with an entirely different and unprecedented amount of information at their fingertips. They have never known being more than a quick search apart from the answers to their questions. They can teach themselves about almost any subject they are interested in without even leaving their bed. They are digital natives, as at ease using apps and code as their grandparents were reading newspapers, or maybe more. They are also the most internationally connected and aware youngsters in history, enjoying a verily borderless experience of learning and an abundant opportunity to travel. Rethinking learning and education in this new era should start with asking some of these questions. 1. What makes a person well educated today and in the future? 2. How can we best cultivate curiosity in our children? And 3. How do we make our children self motivated learners able to solve their own problems? The basic role of education remains what it always has been, that is, to prepare students to become active, successful, and productive members of society. But its context has changed with the changes in human society. You must understand that you are preparing your kids for the unknown, unseen, and unpredictable. Look, we can't adequately prepare our students for the society they will live and flourish in if we continue to prepare them for the society that existed yesterday or even that exists today, right? So 21st century education requires imparting students the skills they need to succeed in this new world. It needs to be all about investing kids with transferable skills that will keep up with the rapidly changing world, not prescribed content that has been selected for its past relevance. Getting information is no longer an issue. 21st century skills require making sense of that information and using it in smart ways. Instead of striving to provide kids with all the information, our job is to support students as they chart their own path to knowledge. You need to ask yourself, what skills will my children need 20 or 50 years from now? How can I help give them those skills? Here are some of the things I deem important from the hundreds of hours I've spent studying learning and creativity and how these are intertwined in a knowledge-based economy. Number one, a student has the lead role. The days of lecturing as the main source of instruction are over. The teacher is no longer the main source of knowledge. In a fast-changing world, children need to be able to acquire new information as problems arise and use it to solve the problems at hand. They have to be taught to gather information on their own. Your role is to help them process that information. That's it. We all learn in different ways. Help your child learn in their own learning style. Number two, skills are more important than knowledge. In today's world, what you know doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with what you know. The idea of education is now well beyond the textbook and more aligned in the application of knowledge rather than assessment of retention. Getting good grades is no longer an indication of success in practical life. Not that it ever was, but even less so. Real competencies will be increasingly more important than degrees and certificates. Education is no longer about imparting content. Instead, your children have to be able to discover their passions and know to turn them into decisive life advantages. So focus on teaching your child life skills, individual-centric learning methods and use of technology. Number 3, education must be collaborative. Our world involves people collaborating across the globe. Our kids must learn how to collaborate, often across cultures and with people whose values are different from theirs. So encourage children to work together to find information, make sense of it, and work out meaning. They should learn how to identify the different strengths and talents each person can bring to a project and determine roles according to those attributes. You should keep abreast with latest developments and modify your educational approaches in light of new advancements. Number 4, a growth mindset is important. A new economy is not for fixed mindsets and those unable to change. A growth mindset gives us the flexibility to adapt to any situation and to rise to challenges it entails. It prefers people and circumstances who offer opportunities to grow over those that massage self-esteem. It's more about character than ability, about overcoming deficiencies instead of hiding them. From the very beginning, you have to train your children with experiences that stretch them and require perseverance in the face of setbacks. A mindset can be nurtured by giving our kids a few pointers here and there. It has to be reinforced through experiential learning that compels them to see new things in new ways. Many parents think that they can boost their children's confidence by praising their brains and gifts. It doesn't work. Often, it has the opposite effect as the self-doubt sets in as soon as the child is confronted with a failure or finds something too difficult. Instead, the best thing you can do is to praise your children's efforts, encourage them to love challenges, and teach them to learn from their mistakes. Number 5, engagement is more important than compliance. In our classrooms, we have too much compliance and too little engagement. You must encourage kids to follow their curiosity and discover what motivates them in order for them to attain a higher level of autonomy in their lives. When children determine their own goals, they enjoy the pursuit even more than the realization. That energy to do something is vital for high levels of creativity. Number 6, use advancement in psychology. Focus your child's mind to learn with full engagement. Teach them from a young age to prime their body and mind to enhance their ability to perform and learn. Skills like communication, critical thinking, and EQ are required in every sphere of life to help people lead happier, healthier lives. Number 7, less reliance on formal education. Children learn best by being with it and not by instructive schooling. They must feel encouraged to offer analysis and insight that challenges established views. Most learning doesn't come from instruction, it comes from unhampered participation in a meaningful setting. Of course, teaching makes a huge contribution under certain circumstances, but most of us now acquire a major part of our knowledge outside school. Hence, more than teaching them the need of being taught, you should motivate your children to develop independently throughout their lives. With so many resources at hand, children are regularly going to know more than their elders on different subjects and be a step ahead on the technology in use. 21st century kids don't need the knowledgeable savant providing them with all their information. Instead, they need a guide. Number 8, play is an essential part of learning process. Children are designed to learn through self-directed play and exploration. We all know that. Through play and following their curiosity, children develop their creative instincts that they can rely on to support themselves. Play allows children to incorporate ideas and information in enduring habits of understanding and responding to the world around them. This is again very unlike superficial knowledge that's learned merely for the goal of passing a test and is forgotten shortly after the test is over. Even video games within reason have a strong positive role to play. Playing fast-paced action video games can quite noticeably increase players' scores on tests of visuospatial ability, including components of a standard IQ test. Self-education through play and exploration needs huge amounts of unstructured time to do whatever one desires to do, without pressure or interference from authority figures. Therefore, if you want your children to thrive, you must permit them more time and opportunity to play, not less. Number 9, introduce your child to nature. People who regularly spend time in nature tend to be healthier, happier, and more creative. Like adults, sedentary lifestyles have a negative impact on children's long-term physical and mental health. Nature is an immensely wise teacher. Nature has healing powers and can serve as salve for the emotional hardships in a child's life. The youth is the best time for us to pass on to our children our love of the earth. Number 10. Education is not one size fits all. The harm that our one size fits all education system does to many highly creative and energetic students is a misfortune. Education should be aimed at making us unique with a roadmap for life and not a conformist. The concept of social engineering, that there is one right way for all to proceed with growing up, gets in the way of many talented individuals. There is no one right way. The concept of education sees schools as instruments of the scientific management of a mass population whose skills, behavior, and career can be foretold and controlled? No, not anymore. School mostly educates children to follow reflexively. Train your own to think critically and independently. And number 11, the last one, is that failure is a great teacher. Children must be able to risk failure and learn quickly from their mistakes. Creativity is just as important as literacy in a knowledge-based economy. If we are not prepared to be wrong, we'll never come up with anything creative, anything original. Many people go through their whole lives having no real sense of what their talents may be. Make sure your child is not one of them. Thank you very much.